friends, it's Kathy Clement with Kathy by Design. Welcome to Wonderful Wednesday. This is a little weekly series that I do here on my YouTube channel where I share a free tutorial following a monthly schedule. The first Wednesday of the month is the tag of the month, followed by the banner of the month, the birthday card of the month, and the fourth Wednesday of the month, which is this week, we do our flower of the month tutorial where I share a flower shaping tip or technique with you. This month, our theme for August is sunflowers and bees. So we're making these Heartfelt Creations Rustic Sunflowers together. I've been making handmade flowers for over a decade now, and I've picked up a lot of helpful little tips and tricks that will make it easier for you to develop this skill in your craft room. So if you'd like to learn how to make these sweet flowers, stick around because the tutorial is coming up next. All right, friends, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to do a little demo for you on how I color my cardstock, and I like to use different color combinations. One that I like for a more rustic looking sunflower is Rusty Hinge, dried marigold, scattered straw, and tea dye. And I've got my Glassboard Studio glass mat down here just because it is so easy to clean up. And it also, the paper glides nicely over it. So first I'm going to put down a nice amount of scattered straw. And then I'm just going to come in and I'm going to add Rusty Hinge kind of randomly. I'm going to take some tea dye, swipe it through the middle, and then some dried marigold. Now I know you can't see this as well, but you will see it on the paper, so no worries. And this is Heartfelt Creations Deluxe Flower Shaping Paper. I have a nice stash of this from when I was on their design team, but I like this, and I'm not sure if you can, so I made this nice and wet. I'm not sure if you can still get this on their website. They are still selling a limited number of products on their website, but just, you want a very smooth, heavy cardstock. So I'm just going to put this down in this big old puddle of ink, and I'm running my hands over it to pick up color. See how pretty that is? And I'm going to come over here and get some of this, come down here, get some of this. Yeah, this is looking great. I like this method for coloring my flowers because you get nice variations, and real flowers are not all the same. So see how pretty that is? I like that. So I'm going to do the back as well. And the reason I like this paper so much is that it doesn't pill and it doesn't tear. It's designed to take all this wet, inky action. I will dry this with my heat gun. If you want really bold, you could go with mustard seed, fossilized amber, and wild honey, and you're going to get a very dark, bold sunflower with that. If you want like a lighter one, just go with scattered straw and squeezed lemonade. And you can also just do like tea dye, which is going to be kind of brown, and scattered straw, and that will be very pretty. So just some possible color combinations. The fun thing about this is to play around with it and see what you like and see what works with your paper. So for the greens, for the leaves, I'm going to go with crushed olive, forest moss, and peeled paint. And we're just going to do the same thing. And on sunflowers, the leaves are just as important as the petals, I think. They really make it pretty. So I'm just going to do like this. And I typically die cut a lot of sunflower leaves. So I'm just misting this lightly. I'm going to come in with my paper, and I'm going to drag it through like this. Okay, see how pretty that is? And come down here and just do it again. Yeah. And then I'll pick up the extra ink on the back. And of course, we always finish these out, you know, with like sponge daubers or sprays or whatever to make them really beautiful. But so there you go. Don't those look nice together? Very sunflowery. Go ahead, play around, make your own color panels, and then we will stamp and shape our flowers. All right, friends, here's all the different color combinations that I did. This one is one of my favorites. This is scattered straw with squeezed lemonade. But you can see, even using the same color combinations, every panel's a little bit different, and you're going to end up with a really beautiful array of colors. Some of these I did scattered straw and antique linen. Some of these I went really bold and did mustard seed and fossilized amber. Some I went softer. Some I went with more of the oranges. And then these are the greens, the different greens for the leaves. So I want to go ahead and stamp out some flowers with you and just show you a couple of little tips. I think I want to work with this panel and this panel. All right, so I'm going to bring in my stamping pad. This is just like a dense foam pad that gives you a really good surface to stamp into. And let's just go ahead and take this one. I've got my Heartfelt Creations Rustic Sunflowers. These are my favorite sunflowers. They just always come out so beautiful, and they're super easy to shape. And the first thing I'm going to do is take my little embossing buddy. And because this is distress ink that we did this with, I always do this step before I heat emboss, because you're just going to get a cleaner stamp. Otherwise, some of that ink is going to stick where you don't want it to stick. And I'm using Distress Oxide, which is a good medium for stamping. It works well with cling rubber stamps. And I'm just going to stamp down. I'm going to start with these smaller ones. And I know you can't see a whole lot yet, but let me show you what happens. Distress Oxide has a long, what they call open time. That means it doesn't set up quickly. So even though it looks like there's nothing there, I wanted it to be subtle. I'm going to put this in my embossing powder and see how it covered the ink. And now I'm going to heat emboss this. So now I've heat embossed, and you can see it's just really subtle, but that's what I wanted. And now I'm going to bring in my cutting die, which is going to fit right over my stamped image. And you just line it up and turn it till you have it lined up perfectly. And then this is Post-it tape. I like to use this. It holds, but it doesn't tear off the image. So I like to use this. And now I'm just going to run this through my die cutting machine. All right, friends, I've been busy. I've stamped and embossed and die cut a whole bunch of sunflowers and a bunch of different colors. One of the things I like to do with flower making when I can is make a whole bunch of the same. And now these I'll just put away in my drawer. And when I'm ready to make my next project, I'll pull these out, and more than half the work is done for me. But these are the flowers we're going to use. So I'm going to come in and add a little contrast to these. And you can do this before you die cut it or after. But this is Rusty Hinge, and I'm going to run this around the center and just touch the tips with it. And this just adds a little contrast. I think it's pretty. Of course, if you want to keep just the straight up yellow, you can do that. And I'm going to show you how to shape these. I'm going to shape mine in the mold, but I want you to know how to shape them by hand in case you don't have the mold. Now we're going to spatter these. This is just diluted white chalk paint. And I very much like the little effect that this gives. If you don't like this, of course you don't have to do it. That's the beautiful thing about making your own flowers, is that you can make them however you please. I have brown paper down to protect my work surface. All right. So I'm going to show you how to shape these by hand. I've chosen some nice big ones so that you can see what's going on. And the first thing I'm going to do is just give it one quick spray this way and this way. This releases the starch in the paper. And I'm using my largest Gulf flower shaping tool. And I'm starting at the tip and I'm pressing in and pulling toward the center. And it leaves these beautiful little lines, like petal lines. I'm going to flip it to the back. I'm going to do these the opposite way. And then I'm going to flip back to the front and I'm just going to push in the middle to raise the petals, and then I'm going to pinch. I'm just going to, between my thumbs, I'm just going to pinch all the way around. I like the way that one turned out. I might leave that one with that petal flipped over like that. That's pretty. And then I might just take this one and do the same thing, kind of roll it. And that's why we color them front and back. Okay, I'll show you again. Quick spritz with water on each side. And then I'm just going to pull. Press into the center to lift those petals, and then pinch. Now this creates a really rustic looking sunflower. If you want yours to look more perfect, just round out those petals with the round end of your stylus and cup. But I like these kind of raggedy looking sunflowers. Look like they've been out in the field in the weather. You can pinch the tips. All right, and press. Okay. So now I need to heat up my glue gun. While we're waiting for the glue gun to heat up, I'll go ahead and show you how to shape this with tools. Everything always starts with that spritz, right? And if you look in your stamp, you can see there are sort of what I call directional lines, and you can just follow those. in toward the center. See how beautifully it curls up? It's like it wants to. It's such a cool thing. And I like doing them by hand. It's just very time consuming. So I have the flower shaping mold, which is very quick. And then I'm just going to pull from the end down. And then I'm just going to press it sort of like this and maybe do a little. And as this dries, this will hold its shape. Okay. I love the way the ends curl. See how beautiful? There. I really like the way that one looks. So you can see when they dry, they're like hard. See, they're very sturdy and they're very hard. And then of course you can pair them up with a sunflower and they're very, very beautiful. All right. Still waiting for the glue gun, so I'll show you how to load these into the mold. Here's the top part. This comes over, here's the mold. So I like to spray them and put them in face down. And you can see they have a section that is the proper size for each layer. You can do as many as 3, but I found that 3 is tricky. I find that 2 per layer works much better. But this is so fast. And I'll do a couple of them right side up just so you can see what I'm talking about, the difference. All right, so like this. And if you had a flower, you would put your flower in there. And then this locks over the top. See how it's locked? Now I have a Spellbinders Platinum machine, and I put my clear plates on the top and the bottom and just run it through my machine. So here these are after having been run through, and you can see they lifted the petals. I'm going to lift them a little bit more, and I'm using the end of a paintbrush just to pounce into the center. And then I'm just going to do the same thing where I pinch. And then when these dry, they hold their shape. And you can do a single layer sunflower, which is very pretty. You can do double layers. You can do as many layers as you like. But I kind of like to twist the ends a little bit, just to give it that really rustic look. Okay. And if they tear a little, it's not a big deal. Flowers get raggedy out in the fields too. These are the ones that I did opposite. These make really cute little ones. Now comes the fun part. We put the layers together. So I'm going to make this a double layer, a large double layered sunflower. And I put my glue in the center on the bottom. And I'm going to stagger my petals like this. Then I'm going to come in with my glue. Let me move this out of the way. I'm going to fill the center with hot glue, and this rounds up nicely. See how pretty? Then I'm going to fill, this is, whoops, a custom mix that I did of various beads and prills. I have coppers in there and reds and oranges. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So set this aside and let it cool. That glue will harden and those beads will be secure. All right, but that's what you want, is that great big center. And isn't that pretty with all the different colors in it? I really love it. So that's the basics, sunflower shaping. Of course, everybody's are going to look different. You're going to have your own style. I encourage that. But now you can make a whole bunch of beautiful sunflowers and put them on your project. All right, friends, this is kind of the last step. I've got a couple of different spray mists. These are old formula, Perfect Pearls, but if you look at the new Tim Holtz spray mists, they basically, they are this same product. So I'm using, this is called Sunflower Sparkle. And I'm just gonna, I've put beads in the bottom to help it mix. You always want to do mists, like anything that has mica spray in it, mica particles in it, side to side, or roll it between your hands like this. Don't do it up and down, because if you do, you will clog. So I'm just gonna go over this to add just a little bit of shine with this Sunflower Sparkle. And then I'm going to come back with this color that's called Perfect Copper. And I'm just going to very lightly. See how pretty that is? That is just beautiful. Now, when you work with mists, you always want to grab a little piece of paper towel. This is the other thing that people don't know sometimes. Clean out that spray nozzle so that it will work the next time you pull it out. So these need to dry. Once they're dry, we can use them on our projects. But that is my flower shaping tutorial. I'm gonna use these particular ones on my banner for Banner of the Week. You can, I'll show you very quickly, if you want to attach your leaves to the flowers directly, just put a little hot glue down. And then set that aside to dry. All right, so that's it for me. Kathy Clement, Kathy by Design, Flower of the Month tutorial. Please be sure to like, share, leave me a comment if you haven't subscribed. I would love to have you subscribe. I'm always sharing fun tutorials here. Thanks, friends. Go get your craft on. Bye.